Take the guess. Don't use your powers. Well, we kind of did. We said we would have guessed 3.
3, right, because one of them is here, and it just goes to show that
probability doesn't mean that.
Doesn't mean it's a guarantee,
yes.
right? And that's why poker is so enthralling to me still.
Well, and see, you compare it to poker. I compare it to the game I've played most ever, the Mind, because it's very much like that where you're...
And I'm more like...
guessing how other people are
comparing
playing.
it to Sudoku.
Sudoku, yeah. So we all have our different kind of
So
basis.
why do you compare it to that? Because I don't know that I've ever done a Sudoku puzzle in my life.
Really?
So the Sudoku, you have a grid, and typically 1 through 9. And you can't either across or down use the same number twice, and they all have to add up to the same. And you start with certain ones
already printed on there, right?
Right,
yeah.
and then you have to fill out the rest of them. So there becomes if I put a 7 here, a 7 cannot go down here. But however, if I add that, which means the 4 will have to go here so that the 7 can go over here.
Gotcha. It can't be that a 7 can only be in one of those.
Correct.
Right. I gotcha. Right.
So to me, that's right.
The intersection.
There's a lot more sway because you're also relying on everybody else playing. For example, both of us putting out
made a mistake. Mistakes were made.
Right.
And I will say, in my defense, I was reading everything upside down.
Yes, you do have that. I wasn't. I don't know what my defense was.
Fair point.
That you're relying on everybody to actually put down the thing that will make the most logical sense to choose.
Human
fallibility. Right.
Yes.
Whereas in a logic puzzle, you're going to get to a point and be like, I added wrong because numbers aren't going to, right. So it is a little bit different because the only person you can blame is yourself. In a
and then not reveal it, which is hard for me because I'm like, oh, mistake.
So right. And then you can't.
Right, you can't be like, no,
face, right?
And they're like, and then hearing you, you're like, well, clearly she didn't do this and in my head, I'm like, no, Jess is an idiot. Don't believe it.
It's a trap. Right. So, and the same, right, and the same 3x3 square. Thank you. Yes. Also,
yes.
So you get.
Gotcha. Okay.
You get 9 squares.
Okay.
So not across, not down, and not in the same square.
Yeah.
So.
I'm making you play one after this. We're just going to have to do that.
I'm moderately okay at them. My mother
I like them.
Is a savant. And what's funny is that's what she did. Like her whole life was taxes and insurance and her relaxation
is numbers.
Was still numbers. So you don't
play.
So I would actually very much enjoy watching her play poker with you.
Oh,
because
that needs to
she's just a
happen.
calculator.
Right.
That's all she's ever doing.
Just for a second, there's going to be a segue to Julie's mom. Julie's mom is amazing. We were sitting on a porch. She comes out, pops her head out, and says, "May I trouble you? Would you like some wine?" Like, that's a bother. Yes.
Overlooking the lake, reading
she brings out the wine and then proceeds to say, "May I play you my favorite song?" And it's Poppin' Tags.
Yeah,
and
it's Straight Shot by Macklemore.
Yes. And it was, we're like,
awesome.
I'm like, that's my favorite song too. You're amazing.
She can
Sorry, segue.
Rap
It was
the whole
worth
thing.
it.
It's her favorite. Yeah, now it's her favorite thing.
That's awesome.
But also, for the record, while she was inside pouring the wine, my father said, "Oh, Julie, you're not." She said, "Oh, Julie, you're not having wine," and my dad said, "No, that was her." She's like, "No, that one's mine. I'm not getting left out." She's pretty fantastic.
So, thoughts on the game now.
All right. We did the Sudoku.
Right.
I said the Mind.
Right. And
because I'm trying to read what you guys are doing and how you're going to play the tiles.
And everything that you do tells a story, right? Either what you did or didn't do, much like poker.
Yeah.
But it very much is a logic puzzle. I am still in love with this game, especially now that we actually got it right. Thank you, Chris.
We're just gonna. I need to take Chris with me, and like, can we just like Skype him into all games?
Yeah, I am very smitten with this game. I really, really like logic puzzles, as I have alluded to and discussed, and I think that this is a really good example of that. The co-op nature, I prefer having a winner, right, as opposed to we won. No, I want it to be based on my decisions, but my attraction to logic puzzles trumps that. And so I thought this was a really enjoyable experience. I thought it was a fun game. And I don't know how people start the Doom counter at 6.
No.
Challenge accepted.
No, I don't know how you do that either. Yeah, I'm glad that we streamed it just because the rules are more intricate than you would think. And I
Apparently,
think
because we
live streaming and
stuff up.
showing
There
where
you
we
go, right?
made some inferences wrong is actually good. I hope you'll see those and make sure you don't do them.
Yeah.
But it does convey the feeling of the game, which is, I think, what people would overlook. It looks like, oh, yeah, okay, I know what that is. I don't really want to play something like that. And then you're playing it, and there's this feeling that it evokes that you can't really convey on the back of a box. So I hope that came across because, yeah, it's been a fun little game to play.
Well, obviously I'm partial to it, which is why I got it in the
Because
first
it's your
place.
copy.
It's all your
of the game,
fault.
So thank you for that. by the
Yeah,
way.
no, my pleasure. And playing it last year and waiting a year to get it, sometimes you play something and you get an impression and you're like, this is great. And then you can revisit it and you're like, well, maybe it was greater in my mind.
Right. That
as a
happens.
person.
Right.
This was not one of them. This is one, it does exactly what I remember it doing, which is it gives me the ability to exercise my brain, to take some time to do math, which and do that logic puzzle piece without a huge extended time in a small box that's portable. So I love playing heavier games. I don't have the time for them, but I also really don't care for light and fluffy.
Right.
I do a lot of it anyway because I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and I was a teacher, and so therefore I spend the time that I need to on those, but it's never where my heart is. So this gives me a lot more and I can play this with the 8 and 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
And
Anybody
they're
can play
still
this.
going to, they're probably going to math it wrong. There's probably going to be a lot less logic.
44-year-olds math it wrong too.
Right.
So in reading comprehension and yeah.
But we'll
Some,
get
not
there.
prime.
And it's going to up their ability to do logic. And
It's
I'd
true.
rather take the hits and do this with them than play the party game.
Well, that's
For
the
the
reason
upkeep
people
of the
do
event.
Sudoku, right? Like
Right.
you're trying to exercise your mind. And I get where people say, and they're like, oh, well, it's rote. Oh, you're just going through this. You are, but then you're getting into situations where you do have to consider what the player would have done. What do they have in their thing? What was their last out?
And
Is
in the
that
back
the old
of
one?
your head, oh wait, did they just play the wrong time?
Right. So trying to figure that out,
And
there's
what's
more
funny,
to
though,
it.
is the 8-year-old will not mess up. The 8-year-old will put down, because he's also, he will place it. He has his big box of logic, like he has
Yeah,
those, like
'cause
the,
he's
the
into
kids
that.
ones, and that's his, instead of watching TV, like the other two are
Yep.
playing a video game together,
And he's in the
and he gets his like
Yeah.
giant thing of logic puzzles and goes in the other corner with the big
Yeah.
comfy chair
Yeah.
and props himself up.
I get that.
And does
Yeah.
his
And this is what they're saying, like, if-
and he looks like a little old man, and it's amazing. So he's not going to be the one that puts the wrong number down on
Right.
the wrong
So
spot.
you're
Right.
reading him
Right.
for what he is too. But
Yeah.
as they said, like for some people, no. If you don't like logic puzzles, if doing that type of math and interpretation of what other people are playing isn't your thing, then you're right. Not your game.
Right. I want a copy. The end. So there you go. All right.
Yeah.
So that is the Shipwreck Arcana. So thank you to Julie for turning us on to the game because I'd never heard of it until a week ago today.
Do I get a thank you for sleeping in that morning? So she set it up and.
There is that.
So then we didn't get to the game we were supposed to get to first.
Yes. Yeah. I think I get.
By the way, the game
sleeping.
plays 2 to 5 also, so I think this would become. I think it'd be interesting at every player count. Honestly, I think there are pluses and minuses to all of it. And if it's 2-player, you only have yourself to blame.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't blame anybody but yourself.
All right, so there you go. So check it out. I thought it was really funny at Christopher Clark at the beginning. The going MSRP for a heavy cardboard game streamed
stock.
is out of stock,
We'll see.
out of print. So honestly, I don't know, but I guess people were saying it's like around $15, $18, whatever.
16.5 for the Kickstarter promos. So between 16 and 21.
Pretty good value for the
And look
amount
at
of game
and
that
the
we
art,
got.
like we talked about. Like I love this one. This is the unique one. Do you see her? Oh, she's
Would
got a
it be
little
a unique?
horse. I like that.
There you go.
I like
Yeah, I
the
like
monster.
Sure.
Yeah,
There you go.
I enjoy the art too. So
All right. Cool. All right, so we will be back later tonight with Puerto Rico with
Yay.
the expansions. Thanks to Rio Grande for that. So, yeah, we'll see you tonight in 5.5 hours. Okay, we're going to go get some Mexican food.
Always.
And go do that in the
Is there
meantime,
anything
so
else?
I'm very happy about that. So hopefully you guys join us tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern for Puerto Rico and the expansion number 1, number 2, which are the new buildings and the nobles. So we'll see you all then. Until then, and actually after then, I will still be Edward.
Jess.
Julie.
Maybe.
You
guys have,
Maybe you'll be just, who else are you going to be?
I don't know.
Listen.
Also, like and subscribe down below. Support the show over on pledgehc.com. It's scrolling underneath. So please, it helps the show. It helps you. Everybody drives home in a Cadillac. Now, literally, it's a figurative statement from the color of money. There you go. That. All right. We'll catch y'all later tonight. Take care, everybody.
Bye.